What if I told you there's a muscle in your body that can help lower your blood sugar, even while you're sitting in a chair? It sounds unbelievable, but it's real. Most people spend years trying to control blood sugar by cutting carbs, avoiding desserts, or relying only on medication. Those strategies certainly have their place, but there's another piece of the puzzle that almost nobody talks about. It's hidden inside your lower leg. You can't see it in the mirror. You probably don't even know its name. Yet this small muscle has a remarkable ability to pull glucose directly out of your bloodstream when it's active. That means less work for your pancreas, smaller blood sugar spikes after meals, and more stable energy throughout the day. Why is that important? Because for millions of adults, the biggest problem isn't just high blood sugar. It's what happens after eating. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. Lunch is over. For the first hour, everything feels normal. Then, suddenly, your eyelids become heavy. Your mind feels cloudy. You struggle to focus. You reach for another cup of coffee or something sweet. A cookie, a chocolate bar, a handful of candy. Most people blame themselves. I don't have enough discipline. I must be getting older. I just don't have the same energy anymore. But in many cases, that's not what's happening at all. Your body is simply reacting to a rapid rise and then a rapid fall in blood sugar. Let's look at what happens. Every time you eat foods containing carbohydrates, your digestive system breaks them down into glucose. Glucose isn't the enemy. In fact, it's one of your body's main sources of energy. Your muscles use it, your organs depend on it, and your brain needs a steady supply of it to think clearly. The problem begins when too much glucose enters your bloodstream at once. Your pancreas immediately releases insulin. Think of insulin as a delivery driver. Its job is to move glucose out of your blood and into your cells, where it can be used as fuel or stored for later. Most of the time, that system works beautifully, but modern life has changed one important thing. We eat, and then we sit. We sit in the car. We sit at our desks. We sit on the couch after dinner. Meanwhile, the glucose has nowhere useful to go. So your pancreas has to work harder and harder to keep your blood sugar under control. Over months and years, that constant workload begins to take its toll. Fortunately, your body has another way of removing glucose from the bloodstream, and surprisingly, it doesn't always need insulin to do it. That's where one overlooked muscle changes everything. So what is this muscle? It's called the soleus. It sits deep beneath the larger calf muscle, hidden behind your shin. Most people have never heard of it because it isn't the muscle that gives your calves their shape. But what it does is far more interesting. Unlike many other muscles that tire quickly, the soleus is built for endurance. It works every time you stand, walk, or keep yourself balanced. Because of that, it's packed with energy-producing cells that constantly need fuel. And its favorite fuel is glucose. Here's where things get fascinating. Normally, glucose enters your cells with the help of insulin. Think of insulin as a key that unlocks the door. But when a muscle contracts, it opens another pathway. Instead of waiting for insulin, the muscle can begin pulling glucose directly from the bloodstream. It's almost like opening a second entrance. The harder that muscle works, the more glucose it can use. This is one of the reasons even light movement after a meal can make such a difference. A few years ago, researchers at the University of Houston wanted to see just how powerful this effect could be. Instead of asking people to do intense workouts, they tested something incredibly simple. Participants remained seated. Their toes stayed on the floor. The only movement was lifting the heels up and slowly lowering them again, over and over. That's it. No treadmill, no weights, no sweating. Just a steady movement that repeatedly activated the soleus muscle. The results surprised even the researchers. After meals, participants experienced dramatically smaller blood sugar spikes compared with simply sitting still. Even more impressive, Their bodies needed much less insulin to keep glucose under control. Why does that matter? Because every time your pancreas has to release a large amount of insulin, it's doing extra work. But after thousands of meals over many years, constantly forcing the pancreas to work overtime may contribute to insulin resistance. Helping your muscles remove some of that glucose naturally gives your pancreas a chance to do less. And that's exactly what we want. The best part, you don't need special equipment. You don't even need to leave your chair. Try it with me right now. Place both feet flat on the floor. Keep your toes touching the ground. Now slowly raise your heels as high as feels comfortable. Pause for a second, then lower them back down under control. That's one repetition. Keep a smooth, steady rhythm. No need to rush. You should feel the muscles in the back of your lower legs doing the work. Continue for 5 to 10 minutes after a meal, whenever possible. It may look too simple to matter, but biology doesn't care how impressive an exercise looks. Your muscles only care whether they're working, and once they start working, they begin pulling glucose out of your bloodstream almost immediately. Of course, heel raises aren't the only option. In fact, there are several easy ways to help your muscles soak up extra glucose after eating, and some of them are probably already part of your daily routine. Now let's turn this into something practical. Knowing how your muscles use glucose is helpful. Using that knowledge every day is what makes the real difference. The first and perhaps easiest strategy is simply to avoid sitting down immediately after a meal. You don't need an intense workout. In fact, you don't even need to break a sweat. A relaxed 10 to 15-minute walk is often enough to help your muscles begin using the glucose that has just entered your bloodstream. Whether you walk around the block, through your house, or even around your office, doesn't matter. The important thing is to keep your muscles active during the first hour after eating, when blood sugar is naturally rising. If walking isn't possible, don't worry. There are plenty of other options. Heel raises, the exercise we just covered, are an excellent choice because you can do them almost anywhere. Watching television, reading, working at your computer, even waiting at the airport, no one around you will even notice. Another highly effective movement is the squat. Why? Because squats activate some of the largest muscles in your body, your thighs and your glutes. The larger the muscle, the more glucose it can use as fuel. You don't need to do dozens of repetitions. Start with 8 to 10 slow squats. Use a chair for support if needed. Focus on smooth, controlled movement rather than speed. And here's one of my favorite recommendations, because almost everyone overlooks it. Housework. Cleaning the kitchen, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, carrying laundry, putting groceries away. These may not feel like exercise, but your muscles don't know the difference. They simply respond to movement. If you do these activities right after eating instead of sitting on the couch, your body begins using glucose almost immediately. Sometimes the healthiest habit isn't adding another workout to your schedule. It's simply changing what you do during the 15 minutes after a meal. Now here's something important. Many people believe they need to exercise harder as they get older. In reality, consistency matters far more than intensity. One 10-minute walk after lunch every day is likely to have a bigger long-term impact than one exhausting workout each weekend. Your metabolism responds to repeated signals. Every time your muscles contract after a meal, they become slightly more efficient at handling glucose. Over weeks and months, those small improvements begin to add up. Your cells become more sensitive to insulin. Your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard. Large blood sugar swings become less common, and many people notice something else they weren't expecting. Their afternoon energy improves. They stop feeling that overwhelming urge to reach for sweets an hour after lunch. Their thinking becomes clearer. Instead of riding the roller coaster of spikes and crashes, their energy stays much more stable throughout the day. That's the real goal. Not just better numbers on a blood test, but feeling better every single afternoon. Before we finish, there's one more piece of the puzzle you should understand. As we get older, our bodies naturally lose muscle mass. It starts gradually in our 40s and accelerates with age if we don't stay active. Less muscle doesn't just mean less strength. It also means fewer places for glucose to go after a meal. Imagine pouring water into a bucket. A large bucket easily holds it. A small bucket overflows much faster. Your muscles work the same way. The more healthy muscle tissue you maintain, the greater your body's ability to clear glucose from the bloodstream before it becomes a problem. That's one reason regular movement becomes even more important after 50 and 60. It isn't about looking athletic. It's about giving your metabolism the tools it needs to keep working efficiently. The good news is that you don't have to become a marathon runner or spend hours in the gym. Your body responds to simple, consistent movement. A short walk after meals, heel raises while watching television, a few squats while waiting for the kettle to boil, even doing household chores instead of sitting down immediately after dinner. These small decisions may seem insignificant today, but repeated hundreds of times over the course of a year, they create meaningful change. Your muscles become better at using glucose, your insulin works more efficiently, your pancreas gets a little more rest after every meal. And those afternoon crashes that once felt inevitable may gradually become less frequent. So here's my challenge for you. Today, after your very next meal, don't sit down right away. Move for just 10 minutes. Go for a walk. Do heel raises. Do a few squats. Or simply stay on your feet while cleaning up. Then, pay attention to how you feel over the next 2 hours. Notice your energy. Notice your focus. Notice whether you're still reaching for something sweet. Sometimes the smallest experiment teaches us the biggest lesson. And remember, none of these strategies are meant to replace medical treatment. If you have diabetes, pre-diabetes, or take medication that affects your blood sugar, always work with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your routine. But if you're looking for one simple habit that supports healthier blood sugar without expensive equipment or complicated diets, moving after meals is one of the best places to start. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. Have you ever experienced that afternoon energy crash after lunch? And which strategy are you going to try first? If you enjoy practical, science-backed health advice explained in plain English, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, keep moving, and I'll see you in the next video.